If you're new to this channel, I'm going to tell you right now, I freaking love dividends. You know why? Because dividends are when you buy like a stock or an ETF, you're giving yourself a raise because typically they pay per share. So it could only be 10 cents or $1 per share, whatever it may be. But let's say you have enough money to buy a share. Well, you're giving yourself a raise because each month or each quarter, you're going to get a little bit more money. So if each month they pay like, let's say 50 cents per share, you buy one share, you get a 50 cent per month raise. You buy two shares, you get a dollar raise, so on and so forth. And as you keep growing that, and as that snowball gets bigger, you're going to look pretty darn awesome and you're going to live your sweet life, and hats off to you. So I figured it's been a long time since I've done a dividend portfolio update. I used to do this all the time in the early days of the channel, and I'm like, man, it's near the end of the year. It's time to talk about this and really come clean with you on what I've been doing to build up my dividend dreams and build up my overall portfolio. Now, this isn't going to be all-inclusive. I'm not going to share every single account that I own, but I am going to share my liquid brokerage accounts. Liquid meaning the ones that are not in a tax-advantaged account, like an IRA or a 401k or whatever. But I got to say, I'm really excited about it because if you've been following me for a long time, there's two things I want to say. One, drop me a comment down below and say, yo, I've been following you for a long period of time. Let me know how you're doing. And I also will make sure that I reply to you directly. I will try my hardest. I do get a lot of comments, but I do want to thank you, especially for those of you who have been with me to remember the old dividend videos we did like 2 years ago. And you'll also remember when I first started, I started out with only like $100, and then I grew to 1,000, and then I grew to like 20,000, and then 50,000, and so on and so forth. And I'm going to explain in this video exactly how I did that, but I also want to give you an update on where I am. And this is going to be a little bit mind-blowing, so I'm not going to sit here and waste your time. Let's get right to the point. Boom! Right here it is on the screen, courtesy of the dividend tracker. And the immediate thing is, holy crap, $268,000. Well, there's a couple things that happen. Number one, I started really upping the game as far as finding income opportunities. I am, by the nature of my spirit, an entrepreneur. So I'm always finding a different way to make more money. Side hustles, full-time jobs, entrepreneurial journeys, income opportunities, anything that sounds like it could be a great opportunity, I'm going to take advantage of it. And then when I make that money, after I pay, of course, Uncle Sam, because, taxes are taxes, I will then take that money and I reinvest it in myself, aka I put it in my brokerage accounts. And that is how I've been able to grow this. Not only that, we've been really focused on our side hustles last year, pushing all that money into the mortgage, and we paid our house off. Now we can take all the money that we have from not having to pay a mortgage payment every month and putting it into our dividends, into our portfolio, into our future investments. And that's what's super cool. So here we have a total value of $268,000, but more importantly, let's look at the overall income. Now my dividend yield is kind of low because I do have some interesting investments that I have within this portfolio too. Dividend yield is 1.66% with a yield on cost of 1.56%. My December income, and this is December 2022 specifically, is $1,449.34. Now that is a little bit different from a video I did just recently, and I got to come clean and tell you why, and also why this graph shoots up. I realized that I was missing my actual big account, and the reason for that is I was actually syncing up all of my Robinhood portfolios, Stash portfolios, and all these different apps that I use because I do review brokerage apps. And the cool thing about Dividend Tracker is that you can actually sync up your accounts automatically. So what that means is this dashboard will tell you how much income you can expect. And the Dividend Tracker does it all automatically if you link your accounts. So what I did is I linked up Robinhood and I linked up Stash. So anytime I transfer money in and I invest, it automatically updates within the Dividend Tracker. But the issue with that is I was forgetting that I couldn't actually link up one of my main accounts, which is on Charles Schwab, because they don't have a link up for that yet. Or if they do, maybe I just was lazy and haven't automatically linked it yet. So what that means is I have to manually put in all of my holdings. And anytime I add new positions, I have to manually come in here and update it. And I realized, well, I should probably do that. By doing that, that's why it jumps up. No, the stock market didn't go to the moon. I just added my other account. As a result, my income went up to $1,449. But let's also look at the annual income at $4,463. So that's really cool. My goal at one point was only to make $100 per month in dividends. You may remember that video. It was back in like 2020. And it's kind of cool to say that I've now achieved that $100 per month goal plus some. And now my next goal is $50,000 a year. in dividend income. And it's all possible. Not only would you enjoy the dividend revenue, you would also enjoy the growth of your portfolio over the long period of time. And that's what's beautiful about investing. So let's break this down. Now over here, you can see I have a Webull portfolio, the main portfolio, which is the one I added today. I have Robinhood, Stash, and of course you can always add other portfolios. Now, again, Dividend Tracker will do this all automatically with their premium account. I do have their premium account. You can check it out using the link in the description below if you're interested in getting it. You can actually start the Dividend Tracker for free with the link below. And then if you want to upgrade to the stuff I have here, you can certainly do so if you wish to do that. But the cool thing that they just added is this payout calendar. This is super, super cool. And look at this. So in December of 2022, now we just looked at the fact that I'm going to make over $1,000 this month, but it actually tells you what day you're going to get paid on. Look at this. On December, actually, let's go ahead here. I'm going to jump over here. December 21st. So I'm recording this video right here on December 18th, but on December 21st, I'm going to make $16.26 from VXUS. That's an ETF that tracks the international stock market with Vanguard. And then on the 22nd, I'm going to earn some money with QQQM, $14.70. Then down here, I'm going to make a lot of money. Look at that. VTI is going to pay me $175 and $1.81 for VUG. And that is paid out quarterly. It mentions that right here, quarterly. This is actually a new thing that they just introduced. And, you can actually break it down by portfolio right here at the very top, or you can do all portfolios, which is what I have toggled on now, and literally see what your paydays are. It's kind of cool. And think about it this way. If you build up enough dividend income, you could actually be like, oh, on this week, I'm going to make $2,000. And next week, I'll make $3,000. That's the ultimate flex. That's my goal. I want to be able to say I make a full-time income with dividends, which talk about passive freaking income. So that's why I hustle so much on all these side hustles and trying to be frugal enough that we can put as much money as we can into the investments. Because at the end of the day, if you can make enough money on dividends and you use this kind of stuff to kind of monitor the health of your portfolio and the health of your dividends, man, you're going to be so much further ahead. And in my opinion, and actually in my experience, I've been so much more motivated by looking at these type of graphs because, you can see here oh, I'm going to make a lot of money here. And a lot of this, this fluctuation is because some dividends are only paid out every 3 months, every quarter, and some are paid out every month, which is why it goes up and down, up and down. But at the end of the day, it's almost, okay, how do I give myself a raise for next year? If I go back to the dashboard over here, you can see my annual income at $4,463. Well, how about we try to figure out a way to make that $5,463 for next year, or maybe even $10,000? Why not make our annual income $10,000? And of course, what that's going to take is two things. Wise investment consistency, which means setting up a plan to invest X amount of dollars every month or every week. And then coupled on top of that, we need to make sure our dividend yield looks good. Now, right now I have some, things like Apple. Apple doesn't pay, they do pay a dividend, but it's not a great dividend. So that's going to bring my overall dividend yield down compared to some of these others. But you could look at, different ETFs and stocks that aren't a dividend trap, but do pay a decent sized dividend. You take advantage of that, you invest in that, that'll raise up your dividend yield. So you could basically invest less and get more in dividend income. In fact, I just did a video a couple weeks ago on how to make $100 a month in dividends, and we actually explore how you can use the tools and resources to look at your portfolio and determine what gives you the best dividend yield to achieve that goal of $100, $1,000, $5,000 a month in dividends. So check that video out after this one. I'll link it up above in the card as well as down below in the description. But right down here on the left-hand side, you'll see it says goals. Now, I have not updated this yet, but I do want to show you this because this is another cool feature that they just added. So if you go in here and you say you want to make $100 a month, it's going to let you know how you're tracking. Now, of course, I put $100 a month and it's saying congratulations because you did that. But I could also enable a yearly income goal. And let's say, this year I made $4,400. And next year I want to make $10,000, okay? $10,000 in income. I'm going to hit save goal and then check out what it does. I am currently 45% of the way to that goal. Now, what I can do is I can use this as a motivator to say, okay, I got my monthly income goal that I set for myself back in 2020. Now I want to make $10,000 a year, 45% of the way there. How might I get to 100%? And that's where you need to then yourself look at everything you have and determine what strategies you can use to build up your investments to that 100% goal. So what I do right now is I'm looking at, okay, here are my costs. Here's my income, and there's one or two things you can do. The first thing is, which is a very limited way to look at this, is lower your cost. Stop eating out as much, maybe cut out some of the streaming services, maybe not spend as much money on X, Y, and Z. But the problem with that is you can only cut so much. So that right there is a kind of a depressing way to do it, because, it's like, okay, let me just cut down my costs so I can invest that savings into my investments. That's depressing. The other side, which I like a lot more, is how can I raise up my income more? Find different ways to build side hustles, raise up your income, and then what you can do is put that money into investments. By the way, there's a really cool one you can use, and it's called user testing. You can make like $10, $60 here and there for only a couple minutes of work. I'll link that video down below. That's one I really enjoy doing. It's fun. You can do it in your spare time and make some extra money. And that way you can get to your goal. So this is my dividend update. I am now officially at that $4,000 goal. It's been quite a journey, but let's see what the next year is going to look like. Because next year, I want to come back and report to you that we've achieved that $10,000 every single year. Are you in on this deal? If so, comment below and let me know that you're in on the deal. And check out this video next. And we'll see you on the next video.